Week 5 is already here. Snap Tackle Pod, high school football here in Kansas City. I'm Mick Shaffer of KSHB 41. Yeah, you get the wired headphones. That's Dion Clisso with the wired headphones.
My AirPods will
PrepsKC.
get a little. My AirPods can get
They're
a little
coming
finicky.
back. Like Aaron Rodgers will walk into games now with the wired headphones.
Oh well,
And
then
quite honestly, I like them.
I definitely don't want to be anything like Aaron Rodgers.
Well,
So I
yeah,
need
change
to.
the headphones then.
Well, my AirPods work pretty good, but every once in a while they can get fluky and drop out. You know the all your
Yeah,
Apple
you get
stuff.
sweaty, those AirPods drop out.
Yeah, so it's your Apple stuff's supposed to all work together, and it does to a certain extent. Like I can answer a call if my phone's down here. I can answer a call from my computer and all that kind of stuff. But I also found out that like 3 Friday nights ago, that it tried to use my phone as the camera for some unknown reason for my computer. Not when I was even trying to make a Zoom call into you guys, like an hour before
Yeah.
that, and it just kept putting up these error messages on my phone. So
Yeah.
it's all. I probably need to get a newer set of AirPods. I mean, mine are like 3 or 4 years old, and as with everything with Apple, after about 2 years, you might as well just throw it in the trash because
When
it's
those
not.
fall out of your when those fall out of your ears, you're going to be able to find them. When the
Yes,
attached AirPods, they could bounce anywhere.
yeah. Make sure the dog doesn't eat them. That's the big
I
thing.
once, while I was mowing, one fell out, and unbeknownst to me, I stepped on it. I buried it in like the mud. And you can send a signal to it, and it'll start beeping and make sounds.
Oh, I
So I
didn't know
started
that.
doing that, and I heard it, and I was out there digging up, and it took me hours to find it. I was like Edgar Allan Poe, Telltale Heart. I was like, I could hear it under the ground, and I finally
Is that our first Edgar Allan Poe reference? I think it is.
hopefully, yeah, sure.
5 years.
And that
Five
finally
years in.
happened. And now, yeah, now I know better. So, yeah. All right, let's get to it here. Let's look back on the high school week that was. You're going to have to help me out here, Dion, because I was at my 30-year class reunion Friday night, just kind of getting updates of scores and all that stuff. More worried about the Caldwell Southeast Cherokee 1A game.
So they're up in 1A now. They're not. I know Southeast Cherokee is. So no
They're
longer 8-man.
11-man 1A is what
Yeah.
they are. So, and they're combined with South Haven. So it's actually South Sumner playing Southeast Cherokee. South Sumner.
That's South. I saw that South Sumner.
That's
saw
South
that
Sumner.
South Sumner.
South Haven and Caldwell.
I did see that South Sumner. I was wondering what South Sumner was. I was like, I hadn't seen that before the other day when I was looking at that.
Combination of two small towns.
Yeah.
So, like a lot of those are. Well, I mean, the first thing that popped out to me was Staley beating Blue Springs. That had to be the upset of the night.
Right? Yeah, they came out and they jumped on them early. The Blue Springs turned over, had 6 interceptions. I think one was run back for a touchdown.
Wow, really?
Yeah, Staley's defense, and the word I'd gotten from people there, it looked like Staley's defense had the playbook at one point because they were kind of
coached by maybe the best defensive mind in Kansas City.
Drew Hudgens and Greg Oder's on staff there, and
another assistant. Are you kidding me? That's unfair.
And there's another coach that Greg Oder gave, and I have to look up his last name, and I don't have his first name, so I don't want to. It starts with an L. He said that was all Hudgens and him. He just is kind of there along for the ride. I'm like, well, I'm sure that there was some input from Greg Oder along the way, but no, that a great defensive performance for Staley. A big win for them, probably easily the biggest win in the year and 4-game era of Drew Hudgens there. Maybe one of the bigger wins even in the last 4 or 5 years for Staley since they won that state championship. But no, it's a good win for them. And Blue Springs have been rolling right along. You never know. They're high school kids. It was homecoming. They got Lee Summit North next week. There's a lot of things that go into it. I know coaches don't love homecoming with all the distractions that go on there. But no, the credit to Staley. They came out with a great defensive plan and stymied Blue Springs and got the job done.
Couple other things. Drew's former school, Blue Valley North, they're 2-1.
Playing well
this weekend.
Want to shoot out with Blue Valley Southwest.
Fighting Gene Weirs.
Blue Valley Southwest, who seems to be very good at pushing everyone down to the final possession of the game. That is what they've done all season long. No, it was a good win for them, and there's a lot of like Blue Valley West and Blue Valley Southwest are 0-3, but they're still pretty solid teams. And you got Blue Valley North is 2-1. You got St. James, it's 2-1 with a big win over Blue Valley Northwest, and and Blue Valley Northwest who's now 2-1, and Miege who's 2-1, and there's Aquinas is 3-0. So there's a lot of different teams in there that are good in that league, And you're going to see that week in, week out. You're going to see
Yeah.
some teams jump up and get some people.
I feel like the EKL, you have Aquinas clear cut number one. I feel like St. James the second best team, and there could be five other teams the third best. I don't know who it is.
I don't know.
So
And St. James defensively, they've really locked down Miege in week one and Blue Valley Northwest in week two, and had a lead on Aquinas in the third quarter where they only had 14 points, and then Aquinas ran away from 41-21 2 weeks ago. So no, I think that St. James defense is pretty good. If they can get a little bit of offense, they're going to be a dangerous team down the line. But no, it was a really competitive week in the EKL.
as it is every week.
Yes.
One you liked, Eudora beating Spring Hill was a big win on the Kansas side.
Yeah, I thought that was a really good one. Eudora lost in week one to Topeka Hayden, which is not something that you want to feel bad about because that's a pretty good football team. But we talked with Drew Steffen, they turned the ball over, gave Hayden some short fields and things like that. And he goes, I wish we had that back. We just kind of shot themselves in the foot. It was 28-6, so it wasn't like it was a one-score game, but he felt like they could have played better. They got a win over a really outmatched Bonner Springs team the second week, and then they get Spring Hill, and it was 24-14, and it wasn't really. They jumped out on them and kept that. They were at the distance, handout here on Spring Hill the entire time. They get Ottawa, who's undefeated this week. That's a great Frontier League game and a great positioning game in that 4A East bracket. Spring Hill, Eudora, they're not going to see each other again, so you just got to take that for what it is. But no, if you're Eudora, you got a tough undefeated Ottawa team that's very talented. So good win for them last week, and it's going to be a good, like I said, a good win for them last week, and definitely a springboard into even better game possibly this week with Ottawa.
Olathe Northwest, to stay on the Kansas side here before we jump back to Missouri. They're 2-1. Are you buying the Ravens? Hey, another Edgar Allan Poe reference here.
Well, there we go. There's just the Ravens, nevermore. No, I think they're a pretty solid team. I like the way Lauren Clark puts his teams together. They're always physical. They tend to get better as the season goes on. They lost in week 1 by 3 to Shawnee Mission East. Get on a bus and go to Garden City in week 2. The bus driver, I guess, made the 6-hour trip back, a 7.5-hour trip back because they got lost going through Topeka. Somehow they tried to take a shortcut. It cost them like another hour, and then they turn around. Then they turn around and play on Thursday night to Lawrence. Yeah. So I mean, because when you're taking a 6-hour bus ride, Saturday's almost gone. You're not getting back until early Saturday, so you're probably not doing as much as you could with the kids on Saturday, and you're playing a short day. And they're the DM injury law coaching staff of the week for that turnaround accomplishment.
Lauren Clark.
Yeah, and Lauren Clark and his staff, and I like them. I think they're tough. I think they're physical. They've got a good game with Shawnee Mission Northwest this week, who can run the ball. Trey Woodruff, their outstanding quarterback, put up 200 yards a week on the ground. That's a good one right there. And so, no, I like Olathe Northwest and the way they're playing.
All right, over on the Missouri side, kind of under the radar, and they shouldn't be because they churn out athletes, man. We got some of the NFL. North Kansas City kind of rolling once again this season. Tell me about the Hornets.
Well, they'd always been known under Leon Douglas that they'd have all these defensive players that were outstanding. Like I said, Tommy Adebayo. It's did I say that one right? Did I get that right? Am I close to that? You're better at it than I am.
Practice it for months. I need to see it, and I'll get it. I need to see it.
Played for the Colts. Played at Northwestern. His brother, is I think at Oklahoma. Am I right there? Little PJ.
That sounds right. Yes.
I think he's at Oklahoma. So they've always had these. In the last 10 years, they've had these all great defensive players. I don't know if they took them all off defense and put them on offense. They're hanging 50 plus a night, every night, and they can really get up and down the field.
Adebayo.
I
think.
Yeah. You guys had to learn a lot more. I tried to get it there.
We had him in studio. He's great. He's good guy to talk to.
I will say this. I remember the year that the Simone Award finalists, just because of the way things fell, got to go to a Thursday night game. And so Coach Douglas and I were standing there, and you could see he's an impressive young man, even a senior year of high school. And he goes, he'll be in the league. He goes, he'll be in the league in 3 or 4 years. And he was dead on.
Yeah. So North Carolina City and Kearney, this week, the Kansas City got out to win that one.
Yeah, Kearney's defense has been really good. They beat Park Hill.
He got a win last week against a Park Hill team.
Yeah,
played pretty decent under some unusual circumstances there.
Yeah, their offense they really stymied that Park Hill offense, which we know can get up and down the field. So that's really going to be the test: is that Kearney defense against that North Kansas City offense. And it's for Kearney, they're probably, I know Coach Minnick is like, this is the class 6 portion of our schedule. And that's kind of the, when you win a lot, you end up having to go step up and play some of those
Yeah.
teams. And, I think it's a good game for both teams because it's really going to test that offense in North Kansas City and that defensive. The thing about it is for Kearney, they're probably not going to see anybody outside like what they saw at Park Hill and North Kansas City once they get into the postseason, unless it's a Lutheran North again, like they saw last year. And that was kind of the difference last year. Lutheran North had just a little bit more speed than Kearney and got them in a game, as far as I was concerned, was a state championship game because Lutheran North went on to win easily in the state championship game.
It's funny. Park Hill has played both of them, lost to both of them. They lost to Kearney in a 14-7 game,
Yeah.
lost to North Kansas City in a 69-51 game.
Yeah.
Where's it going to fall in this one?
I don't think that Kearney's going to give up
Favor
50.
the Bulldogs.
Yeah, I don't think Kearney's going to give up 50. I think they're so good defensively.
Probably not.
They're probably not going to give up 50, but it'll be definitely a test for them.
Liberty North, Lee Summit in a battle, 35-34.
Yeah, Karsten Feeney came back
Gets a good win.
Lee Summit, which helped them a little bit. I need to check in on Lee Summit. They played a different quarterback. I don't know if that's injury related or what the situation is there. It kind of got their offense going. And, I was emailing with Sean Belton today, and he's like, I thought they were supposed to be pretty good this year. I said, they're pretty good 0-4, having some injuries there. One of the Hatfield twins has been down since game 1. Karsten Feeney didn't come back until this week. I think, they've run into some teams matchup-wise, size-wise, that they've been on the other side of. And some of those 50-50 games they won last year, they didn't win this year. And that can happen, go from year to year. But Liberty North, that was a good win for them. Lee Summit, they've got Lee Summit West this week. I like them in that game. Though Lee Summit West has got a lot of athletes too. That is probably going to be a track meet because neither one of those teams have a lot of size, but they got guys who can run up and down the field.
Let's talk about the front runners here. The two best teams I think in the city are St. Thomas Aquinas and Platte County. Aquinas is on, what do we decide, a 16 game win streak, and Platte County we decided is on an 18 game win streak.
18 game win streak,
right?
Yes.
Who would win in that matchup? We won't see. We got a Class 5 team and a 5A team. Who would win, you think?
I think it'd be interesting. I think because, Aquinas, if they get up on you, they grind you out and you never get the ball back. That being said, Platte County can score 10 different ways and quickly. Sure. They're more built to come back if they need to come back. They haven't had to come back from anything in over a year, so I don't really know. Even longer than
the last time they were trailing, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'd have to find out. And the last time they're training more than just like somebody scored on their first drive.
Yeah.
Like where the Platte County offense had been on the field at least once and come off the field and trailing. So I love that matchup. It'd be a great matchup of styles. The Platte County defense is kind of, they were last year, they were very senior heavy, very talented group, could shut anybody out. I think this year's group's playing pretty well. They gave us some points to Washburn Rural last week, but I think a lot of that's kind of younger guys getting on the field there in the end, when they get up on teams. So, it would be interesting to say the least, because if Platte County got up on Aquinas, I don't know if they could, get down 2 touchdowns to a
sure. Then that's always the deal with Aquinas. You get down by a few scores, it's going to take you a long time to get back. But does anybody play the flex bone on the Missouri side? That might be Aquinas.
No, I don't think so. There's
when they hang their hat. No, they don't play. It's a virus on the Kansas side.
Oh, it's
on the
everywhere.
Missouri side, I can't think of anybody that plays it.
Well, you're talking about, you look at some of the stats stuff, and as we're doing this, we're getting ready to put our stat leaders out on a Tuesday night. Jack Reeves at Shawnee Mission East, quarterback, leading rusher for his team. Trey Wood from Shawnee Mission Northwest, leading rusher for his team, quarterback. And, now Cal Arndt is definitely the leading rusher. He's a running back. And I saw some highlights of him again this week. There's a highlight of him going 20 miles an hour. You got to speed up to 20 miles an hour. It's like, we talked about this last week. Hats off to that kid. He was really good last year.
Well, he was the guy that could have won the Simone Award last year, right?
Yeah.
And has come out. And it's hard a lot of times when you have that breakout year and people know about you, but apparently not for him. He's broken out.
No,
I was looking at your stats earlier. I think he's averaged like 250 yards a game or something like that.
Yeah, and he had 200 some last week too. So he's not backing off that 200 number. That's for sure. And I said I can't say enough about the way that kid's come into this year and really taken everything. And we talk about McCarthy elite team, and there are no guaranteed spots, though. Cal is making sure that one of them
Right.
one of them is not
Give it
going
a
to be
couple weeks. There
available.
might be one.
One of them is not going to be available here soon.
Give it a couple more weeks. Right now, I don't know on Gardner who's leading them in rushing. Usually it's their running back,
Yeah,
Padilla, I would guess, right?
I think so. Yeah, I'd have to look their stuff up, but
Um, but yeah, no, a lot of times it can be the quarterback in that system. All right, let's get to the Remax. Big three games of the week this week. You got a couple from the Sunflower League. Olathe South and Shawnee Mission East is one.
well, you got Shawnee Mission East coming off their first loss to Mill Valley, and Mill Valley kind of hung it on them a little bit. And then Olathe South coming off a good win, and they're 2-1, and you
I
know,
think you're gonna watch out for Olathe South, honestly. I think
yeah,
they're good.
new coach Michael Allen. As we record this, getting ready to talk to him. Really excited to talk to him tomorrow for the first time, and just kind of get his feel on what's at Olathe South. And they were, you know what, they were pretty improved last year. They were playing better football. They had the Armstrong kid that was a stud for them last year. But
Max.
they've definitely come out and been playing well. And like I
The
said,
loss is the Great Bend, who's one of the best
oh
5A
yeah,
teams, one of the best teams in the state of Kansas.
yeah, Great Bend's a really good team, and no, that's a good matchup. And Shawnee Mission East, like I said, looking to bounce back after their first loss, and that'll be a good one.
Yeah, should be. Also out of the Sunflower League, Gardner Olathe North already. Gardner Olathe North.
Yep, and
Both teams kind of down, I would say, from their usual lofty status. Would you agree?
yeah, I'd say so. I think Gardner's kind of getting those young guys more experience in the lineup, and Lathan North maybe not as talented as they've been. I know their number, they're not as number wise big as a team as they've been in the past in terms of depth. But they're still Lathan North, and those kids know how to run that system, and they
Sure.
play hard. And so, you know, the shocker would be if you look up the end of the year and the Lathan North was 3-6.
Yeah.
That I mean, that would be like, oh my gosh, what happened there? This may be a rebuilding year, and they may be 6-3. you know,
Yeah, exactly.
so that's kind of the way they're. And Gardner, they're trying to not necessarily do what they've done the last 3 years, but definitely be peaking at the right time. And they're starting to play some better football after they lost that Lawrence Free State game, and they bounced back from that pretty good.
Yep. Also, I have DeSoto and Baser Linwood. I've been, I can't, old habits die hard looking at the 5A standings, right? And I think the loser of this game ends up with one loss, and the winner of this game ends up with zero losses. That's my prediction here.
Yeah, they've been the best two teams in the UKC so far. I think Baser's play a little tougher schedule, an improved Leavenworth team, an improved Piper team in there, where DeSoto's kind of run through things as they tend to do. They've had a little maybe on the easier side of their schedule, but good test for both teams. And this is one of the better rivalries in the UKC. These teams play each other, every year and play tough. And like you said, in the bracket, it's a big spot for whoever you are in the bracket to get that win and move along. So
Yeah,
no, it's
5A's
gonna.
got a 5A East has a pulse these days, not like it was a few years ago. On the Missouri side, got another Kansas team, Bishop Miege taking on Rockers. I feel like we're in the middle of that kind of triad, yeah, round robin, Bishop Miege, Rockers, and Aquinas playing each other.
Yeah, and I think Rockers is definitely probably the big favorite coming into this. But Miege plays them tough. That's a tough game every year, no matter
Yeah,
if one of them is supposed to be better than the other one.
right.
They play tough every year, and it's usually a one-score game. And Miege is playing much better football since week one when they got shut out by St. James, and that's not looking like that bad of a loss at this
Hmm.
point, especially with the way the St. James defense has played all season long. But no, Rockers, they gave up a few more points to the Lisa West. I think that kind of stunned people, but at least, like I said, Lisa West has got some athletes and can break some plays on you, and they may have a little bit more of a speed advantage on Rock in that game. But Rock got their size, and they're really playing well. Still a young team. Really, they started the season only 7 seniors starting, and they've lost a few along the way. I think a couple of them have come back, but that's still mainly juniors
Yeah.
and sophomores seeing the field there.
Rivalry game this week on the Missouri side. You have 1-3 Park Hill South against, I believe it's 2-2 Park Hill. This game, of course, at Park Hill, but the Trojans are technically the home team.
Yeah, it's Park Hill South at 1-3. They've had some tough games, where they played Blue Spring South. They're better. I mean, I know that's tough when you're 1-3 and you say, "Oh, we're better," because I don't think this time last year they had any wins. I think they lost to Granby in week 1 last year. So no, it's a better team there. Park Hill kind of up and down a little bit here and there. Like I said, they've lost their started out 2-0 and or yeah, they kind of won one, lost one, won one, lost one, back and forth. So good for both these teams to just kind of see where they're at right now, and they're it, in the situation at Park Hill, and Andy Sims, their coach, is still suspended, and so their offense hasn't been quite what it was since he left, outside of that first night when they scored 50 and lost. But no,
Yeah.
it's a fun. Sometimes those rivalry games, even the teams don't have great records, turn out to be some of the best games. And I remember a few years ago, Park Hill South, they're both kind of middling teams.
Mhm.
Would put in two of the best games all season, regular
Yeah.
season and playoffs.
Yeah.
Uh,
Twice. Yeah.
yeah, so
That's right.
it is a good one.
And then Kearney, North Kansas City, we've talked about a little bit already, but that's
This
the
is good a game.
best game in the city
Best
this
game
week,
in the
right?
city, not even close. And really a chance. We know what Kearney is. We know what they're going to do, and they've earned all the respect that they deserve. And this is kind of the first. North Kansas City passed the Park Hill test. Now let's see them pass that Kearney test. And if it's going to be a special year for North Kansas City, a win over Kearney will be a big part of that. So
Yeah.
it's like I said, I want to see their offense that gets up and down the field. I'm thrilled that it's on Spectrum. I'm going to be able to sit here and
Yeah.
watch it and see how that game goes. And no, it's like last week I got to see good St. James Blue Valley Northwest game. That was a fun one to see. And but no, it's definitely, I think, the marquee game of the night, hands down, not even close.
Our game tonight, two teams I think with promise who maybe haven't come out of the gates like they've wanted to, or like the East and Lawrence Free State. That's going to be our game of the week over here on KSHB 41. We're actually doing one of our town halls in Lawrence that day, so it lines up. So it should be a fun day out there in Lawrence for KSHB 41. Who do you like in that matchup of the Hawks and Firebirds?
Well, I like Free State. They got that big win over Gardner Edgerton in week one, that 1 point game, and then
And
ran
then
into
tough one over
Manhattan.
Manhattan.
Yeah,
Or
that's a
against
tough.
Manhattan.
I think Manhattan's pretty good. I think right
Yeah.
now I would lean to the West in 6A. I think that I'm not saying that the East can't produce a team worthy of winning a state championship or able to win a state championship, but I think these teams have all got to play each other.
I think you're right. Who's the best 6A team on the east side, do you think?
Depends on the week. I mean, I would have told you Blue Valley
I don't know who
Northwest
it
2 weeks
is. Yeah,
ago.
there's not a dominant Gardner we've seen before, Lake North, something like that, or a Blue Valley Northwest, or one of those schools. It's I don't know who it is. And you're right. You got Manhattan out there. Still got Derby,
Yeah.
who they lost to Hayes, a good 5A team out there.
Who
Great
who
Ben's good out there. So yeah, it might be
who
shaky.
Manhattan only beat Hayes 10-8.
10-8, and
So
Hayes
I
beat Derby.
and Hayes beat Derby. 5A's.
Real deal.
I know.
Great Ben.
Great Ben and
Hutch.
Hayes and Hutch on one side, and I don't know the 7 teams that are over here that are good enough, and that's what I'm saying.
It's going to
I
really depend a lot on the draws,
I think
because you're going to have Aquinas and St. James and Mill Valley all being contenders, and then there's Basel Linwood and Blue Valley saying, "Hey, what about us?" And right,
well, you
maybe
talk about a DeSoto team that runs a flex
Soto,
bone
yeah,
too and does that kind of stuff. I mean, 5A's, and I think we were talking about the 6A. I think that at the end of the season there'll be a team good enough to challenge for that. But I just think that it's going to somebody's going to rise to the top. I just don't know who that is
yeah,
right now in 6A in Kansas.
no, absolutely. All right, you need to get your stat leaders updated here, okay?
I
Because I
will.
love
It's
looking at
Tuesday
them.
night. It's Tuesday night.
I've
And
got them. I got to do it tonight, okay?
oh, we always do it Tuesday night. It's just
Tuesday
sometimes it's
night, okay,
later.
good.
Well, it
So
used to be
I
at
TV
the
me from
mercy.
doing it.
It used to be at the mercy of the kindergartner, now first grader, um, Cole Young's daughter Marin, when she would get her to bed and he
Nice.
would go run the program. But now it's when he gets done with his bowling league.
Okay.
He got roped into a bowling league down there in Ramore. So
What
doing the
busy social life.
well, when you got both
Leads
kids
an
in school, we got
incredibly
both kids
busy
in
life.
school.
I see him in Northwest Missouri State
Yeah.
games, all that.
Yeah, he's. I told him. In fact, I told my wife. I said, when your boy gets to be on the field a little more like that, I said we may have to pick a weekend
Yeah,
and go up and do the Schaefer
100%.
tailgate up in Maryville. So
Oh yeah, we're getting more and more items every week out of that tailgate. All right, we had I don't know, we're not quite at the halfway point of the season. Are we in any sort of miles benchmark here, I guess, for the McCarthy Elite team? How much more you eyeing guys for this squad?
Well, we did we did quarterbacks week 1, we did running backs last week. We'll do receivers this week, and then we'll jump over and do some defense the following weeks. But no, we're starting to, the watch list. I put the story out last week. It's on the running back side. There's a lot of good guys, and like I said, there's 3 spots, and none are spoken for. Though Cal Arndt is clearing his throat.
Yeah, he's getting up from his chair.
Yes, he's getting up from his chair, ready to make some remarks. He's actually made plenty of remarks up to this point with his play.
That's funny.
But no, it's kind of good to see it. There's a guy that is an interesting player for me that we're going to talk about this week in the receivers. Cameron Fields from Washington, and he's got 1,000.
He had a great year last year.
Yeah, had a great year last year. Savion Stone, their quarterback, has got 1,000 total yards already in 3 games. Cameron's interesting guy because he'll lead them in rushing some nights and receiving, and he's going for he's a good all-purpose guy and is really a big-time player for them. So that's what there's some names out there on the receiver side that are not necessarily with the biggest schools. That's the thing, and especially over in Kansas, everybody running flexbone, so there's not that many teams putting up receiving numbers over there in Kansas. But no, it's fun, and we'll start whittling it down, and we're rolling right along, and we do this podcast, and maybe we have to bring you in on one of them. We didn't bring you in on any of those last year. Those are short. We do about 10 minutes.
Yeah, I
got 10 minutes hit the highlights.
Let me know, Dion. We'll jump on. I say that, but at the end of this week, Kansas will be halfway through their schedule, and at halftime of this week, Missouri's going to be halfway through theirs.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, it is. It comes up quickly, and the first week of the playoffs is on both sides is Halloween night this year, which will be fun. And
that'll be some fun student sections.
Oh yes, that's the best. That's the best student sections when it's Halloween night. It's the season's rolling on pretty good. Luckily, we haven't had any weather. As I say this, as it's raining outside right now.
It should rain tomorrow. Should be good. I think this Friday at least. Should be steer clear.
I told
second summer, so we've yet to really have like long sleeves and blue jeans weather yet.
I did throw the hoodie on today, so my new swim hoodie. So
no,
I think I hope I didn't curse us. I said we haven't had the heat delays or the thunderstorm delays yet this year. So
yeah.
Though I don't know, if it were up to me, I would stagger starts as someone who does the scoreboard. I think we should start about 5 to 10 games at 5 and another 5 to 10 games at 5:45 and just kind of stagger around. Rockers
still start their home games at 7:30?
No. That's been gone for about a decade. Yeah. Because their statement was that their fans come from all over the city, and so it takes them longer to get there.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think the state came in and said, no, you got to start at 7, something like that. I think it was the state. Now in St. Louis, all those Catholic schools
to get there. I mean, it was still 7 o'clock. It's still 2 hours after most people get off work. How far
a lot of the schools in St. Louis start at 6. Like the Catholic schools over there, they start.
I wouldn't mind that. 6. Yeah.
Well, they played 2 games at Homer Park last week in Topeka. Played a 4 o'clock game and a 7:30 game.
Nice.
So got those 2 games in. Yeah.
We've seen it before.
Blue Valley's had some double headers.
North, they've done a 4 and like a 7:30. Yep. Yeah,
Blue Valley has 2. Now that Blue Valley West has its stadium, they haven't really had that scheduling.
Yeah, situation you have 3 stage 5 schools should be good most of the time.
Yeah. So.
All right, Dion. That's all you got. That's all I got.
That's all I got.
Yeah. Thanks for watching and listening here on Snack Tackle Pod Week 5. Enjoy your games on Friday. Check out PrepsKC.com and then check out Under the Lights on KSHB 41. We'll see you next time.